Okay, we're going to do another video today, just going over some things that small businesses, healthcare providers, clinics, anyone who has a receptionist or an inbound call center, what to do or the mistakes to avoid when your receptionist quits. And I won't lie, I'm getting more and more addicted to creating these YouTube videos. We're getting some pretty good traction on our YouTube channel. I think we have like 40, 50 subscribers and hundreds of videos up there. So we know, hey, AI not so exciting for the YouTube crowd. Business owners are still finding us, still booking discovery calls. So for me, I don't care how many followers or likes that we get, just so long as the people that are quite literally looking for our services that are exact fit for their business, our ICP or ideal customer profile finds us. And that's going to contribute to our overall search visibility and even the visibility on ChatGPT. So, I'm going to continue making these for you guys so long as you find value in them. But we just put together a piece of content this weekend. It's top 10 mistakes healthcare and service businesses make after a receptionist quits. This is an emotional moment for a business. It's an emotional moment for the receptionist. So in those moments of intense feelings, mistakes do get made. We want to make sure that your clinic or your business has a plan or at least a roadmap towards fixing the situation as quickly as possible, because we all know what missing phone calls means for any business. It's missed revenue, deterioration of your engagement with your clients. So it's best we want to avoid that. So I'm going to go through the top 10 that we came up with here. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you're about to watch a video from Peak Demand AI Agency in Toronto. I'm the founder, Alex. If you're looking for voice AI services, anything AI related, really, particularly voice AI solutions that can integrate with your systems, or if you're looking for lead generation, we're getting so much fun activity on the lead generation side. Everyone's like, "Yeah, we want leads, we want new business." Okay, no problem. Put you on an AI powered SEO program and get that started for you. But we're going to go through these top 10 mistakes first right now. So, receptionist quits, unexpected crisis for healthcare and service businesses. When a receptionist quits unexpectedly, it creates a high risk service gap, especially in healthcare and other inbound dependent businesses. So, if your business, you may not be a healthcare service provider, but if you have an inbound call center and you see people start to drop off, or at least the quality of engagement starting to deteriorate, these are things you might want to consider. Clinics, dental offices, veterinary practices, vet practices we're getting into more. We're noticing in Canada, in particularly, Canada has a huge number of pets. I would even say we're getting more pets than we're having babies. And so vets are getting inundated with calls more so than any time else in the country. So we're setting up AI agents for them as well. But service providers, they rely on literally every call to power their business. Lost calls become lost appointments, eroded trust, and leaking revenue, which is not good. So today, what we're going to learn is why silence or delay costs more than you think, how to keep calls answered instantly, either be it a human or AI fallback, how to capture and recover lost leads before they disappear, how to communicate clearly to patients and clients during the gap, and ways to build redundancy so future quits are non-events and you can just keep rolling with the punches. So number one mistake is there's no documented emergency coverage plan after a receptionist quits. Like, this is just the naked operation where it's just like, hey, we have a receptionist, she's doing work. Oops, she quit. Now we need someone to fill her spot. That is a very low level operational structure for a business that relies on inbound calls. If your intake flow for engagement happens primarily through the phone, you're going to want to shore up or reinforce that channel with redundancies in order to uh, maintain the business continuation. So the mistake is relying on improvisation or memory when a receptionist quits instead of having a predefined written backup process. Why it hurts, waste of time deciding on who covers phones, what to say, how to route calls, inconsistent responses that confuse patients and clients, missed opportunities, appointments, leads, urgent inquiries while the team scrambles to figure things out. stress cascades across staff, degrading trust internally, externally. Like people who are tasked to answer the phone and communicate aren't trained on it. They start doing it. They feel bad because they're not doing a good job. Boss gets mad at them because they think they should be doing a good job, and then everyone's unhappy. I've seen that situation in so many offices across my own personal career when I was growing up, having jobs here and there for different businesses. As soon as a receptionist went down, it was mayhem in the office. And I actually did, I think it was like 2 years of, maybe 3 years of receptionist work in a hospital when I was younger, maybe in my late teens, early 20s. I can't remember now. But I remember like getting calls quite literally every few minutes. Like it was on the phone all day, constantly engaging with different departments, coordinating service requests, stuff like that. And I remember when I went on lunch, the amount of voicemails and like just sticky notes from people randomly answering the phone when I wasn't there was just amazing. So I can only imagine, for receptionists to just get sick one day, how many calls and how many messages get left without being tended to. So we want to avoid that. What we want to do instead is we want to have an activation trigger and ownership or responsibility. So as soon as that receptionist is gone, we want to flip the switch to our plan B, and we want to have an immediate coverage pathway, whether this is a pre-authorized AI agent that you have built as a redundancy just in case, or the list of human fallback options in the office that you can defer to, who have some semblance of training on interactions with the phone. And obviously, scripted calls and templates really help for those humans, but for if it's an AI agent, they're already trained on that stuff, so you don't have to worry. Lead capture and handoff protocol, how we managing CRMs, EHRs, stuff like that. Communication plan to patients in clinics who might be engaging with the business, regularly enough where the receptionist would be communicating with them for critical things like appointments, follow-ups. Maybe you want to send out a little blast to the people who just recently came in saying, hey, the phone doesn't get answered, why? Or install an AI agent and can carry on business. But we want to make sure the bottom line is having a plan, because if you have no plan, you're quite literally leaking operationally, and that tends to mean leaking revenue, or at least incurring costs. So number two mistake is wasting time searching for a solution or delaying activation on AI systems after a reception request. Like wasting time, I am a very, very strong proponent of speed. I've got the need for speed. I tell these guys on the team, like, if we're not going fast, we're literally standing still, especially in the digital space. For me, going fast, getting things done now, task execution now is super high priority. And if you're looking at a receptionist who's just left, that's a high priority issue you want to solve ASAP, just because of how much it means to the business. They're sort of like your front line on a battlefield. If your business was like an army, so to speak, your front line or the frontline infantry would be your receptionist, and they need to be strong. Like they need to be resilient. They need to be present. And so when one quits, it's sort of like you're super vulnerable for that moment. That's why AI agents are moving so well in the space, is because they never quit, they never break, they're working 24/7. It's like having a Terminator on your front line. Instead of a regular human trying to do things with a sword, you got a Terminator with coming out of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with a machine gun. So it's a lot more effective, if you have a backup plan for with an AI agent, or just getting one installed and having your receptionist do other high value tasks. So every hour of every delay means unanswered calls, lost appointments, slipping leads, patients and clients call, assume the practice is unavailable or disorganized. That perception is very nasty. Calling and getting voicemails consecutively, or calling multiple days in a row, getting voicemails. I can't tell you how many clinics that we talk to or we don't talk to, like literally no one talks to them because no one ever answers the phone. And I gotta say, being a Canadian, I am sort of shameful. I feel sort of ashamed that a lot of our small businesses operate this way, and that's part of the reason why I went in this direction but for the agency was just because of how bad it is in Canada, seeing how many businesses don't even have people answering their phones. Like where personally believe, like even walking around downtown Toronto, we're going into a depression, at least in Ontario with everything going on with real estate. So not being able to answer the phone for new business is sacrilegious in an economy that really needs to drive revenue. So it's this really rings true. The appearing disorganized, low level business operation, people just don't want to do business with you. Momentum and trust erode while staff scrambles, creating unnecessary stress, reactive firefighting, opportunity cost compounds, longer the gap, harder to recovery becomes. So again, we don't. A lot of the what to do instead is the same. Have the backups, have the plans, have the scripts, but you really don't want to be wasting time. If your receptionist quits, you literally want a seamless transition where they depart and you have an immediate backup plan. Letting inbound calls go unanswered after receptionist quits is sort of the same for wasting time. Is every single call you get that goes unanswered contributes to that compounding of missed opportunity cost. We want to avoid that. Recovery becomes harder and longer as the silence persists. Cold leads decay really, really fast. I can tell you right now, we do not miss a single call to this business ever. Either Sasha's answering the phone. Sasha, she answers the phone 24/7. She'll book you on an appointment ASAP. No problem. Explain all about the business. If Sasha, for whatever reason at all, is not answering, maybe like the 0.01% downtime she has for maintenance, we got 3 or 4 guys' cell phones ringing immediately as soon as the phone's called. So there's never a moment when the calls are not getting answered. That as long as I'm looking after the ship here, we're never ever missing a call because of how important communication is. So what you want to do instead, as I mentioned, immediate call routing, layered redundancies, combine AI pickup with human escalation. Like we can have situations where an AI agent can take over temporarily for someone who quits and then escalate calls if you're still toes in the water. You don't really know if AI is going to work for you. Just have one built and then escalate the calls to a human agent if you're really not so convinced. But I'll guarantee you, the moment you start hearing these things talk, you're never going to think about hiring a receptionist again. So having a toes in the water experience where you're just doing a small implementation, call routing agent, route calls to the internal team members, highly advise that. But again, making sure that those redundancies in place, you're pretty much going to see that for every mistake here. Losing leads from failure to capture and follow up after receptionist quit. So, the inbound leads is one thing, but your receptionist also is doing a lot of follow ups, coordinating times for service, meetings, stuff like that. So, not having someone to go in and do that consistently after the fact, it's just slowing down your pipeline movement and momentum. A lot of people have their receptionists following up with leads like they're a salesperson, especially in Canada. I really want to see business operations evolve in this country. Like I've had so many sales roles for Canadian companies, and I can tell you, we're still living in the 90s. We have to evolve technologically, business wise, or we're going to have a problem in this country. And one thing that I noticed, every single office I've been in, follow-ups are almost non-existent. Guys, we need to follow up with people who have engaged with the business. There is absolutely no question that that needs to happen. If you're not following up with your leads, you're quite literally leaving money on the table, and that revenue can go towards reinvesting in the business, hiring people to do stuff. Like you can't just have an opportunity come through the door and miss it. You really can in this economy. So follow up and capturing those leads, getting them onto meetings after the fact. Huge mistake that people leave to their receptionist, and then when the receptionist quits, their entire pipeline falls away. So what we want to do instead, we want to immediately follow up. You can automate it through SMS, email. You have a voice agent call a whole list of people that have given you consent to call them. We will engage automations like that. We're not going to do cold calling. We got a bunch of real estate people asking us to cold calling for homeowners in Canada, trying to buy their home or trying to sell their home. It's just a mess. Like real estate's a mess right now. So really, if you're interested in that, we're probably not the right agency for you. But if you're a normal business who has leads putting their information into a form, and then you're just not following up because you don't have time or bandwidth to do it, get an AI agent to do it. It's I wouldn't say it's easy to build, but once you see how well it works, it's so obvious that this is what you should be doing. Okay, so number 5 is single point of failure, no redundancy after receptionist quits. Single point of failure is huge. Like some offices have multiple receptionists, some clinics have multiple clinics where a receptionist at one location can answer for everyone, or they have an inbound call center, which is good. It's a it's a more stronger operation, but we don't want to just rely on that single point in the workflow where if it fails, then all of a sudden we're not getting any calls or any engagement with the business. That's a no. We want to have either multiple channels that can manage the inbound or the patient intake, or we just want to have a redundancy in place where if that single point goes down, immediately replaced with a voice AI agent. So it's a way that businesses are structured. People are like, okay, well, we have a service team, we have a sales team, now we just need a receptionist to answer all the phones. The phone ringing is your revenue for your business. So if you believe that the revenue for your business is best left in the hands of a receptionist, you're paying $40,000-$50,000 a year, go ahead, try it. That's how we've been doing business in Canada for 20 years, and right now our economy's not doing so good. If you believe that there's a better way to do things, like having a 200 IQ agent with 24/7 coverage answer the phone, having that agent qualify the calls for whatever you can think of and then route to the sales team, it's a little bit better of an operation. Receptionists, I think, are going to be a role that gets uh, put onto AI just for the sake of qualifying. You don't need to have someone sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. They can be doing other things and focusing on other things. And then when the phone rings, they're not distracted because they don't need to answer it. It's going to get answered immediately. It'll probably ring once and then go to the AI agent. No more voicemails, just post call reports. So, having that single receptionist be your front line of your army on the battlefield of business, not the greatest idea. You want to have AI agents in place, sales teams connected to routing for the agent. It makes it a lot better. And like we don't miss any loose balls at the agency. Everything's caught. Number 6, poor communication to patients, clients about the change after receptionist quits. It's a hobbling along of business that really irks me. It's a receptionist quits, you got to scramble to find a new one. You're putting up Indeed posts, calling temp agencies. Like it's a mess, and I can't wait till we've evolved past it. But communicating with your patients, they can't see what you're doing internally, but they can certainly see how you communicate with them or how you simply do not communicate with them when it comes to them calling the business or you following up on an appointment or a quote. And that's all going down to perception, and perception goes down to trust. So if we're not communicating with our patients in a meaningful way or communicating with our clients in a way that allows them to see that we have the credibility and value that they thought when they first picked up the phone to call us, you might as well close up shop. Your phone is going to be your primary channel for revenue if you're a local service-based business. So for me, having that communication line open at all times, 24/7, even when no one's in the office, is critical. Uh, what we do instead, consistent messaging, of course. You can have stuff on your website that really helps. And you guys can visit this blog piece to get more in depth. Like there's a literal guide on each one of the mistakes. If you were to make them, I'm just doing a brief overview here. But really, I like this. Use empathetic language. We train our agents to like be borderline therapists. If that's the type of perception you want. If you call Sasha, she's a little bit meaner than other agents, but that's how I like her. because people are so afraid of AI. They're so apprehensive if they are not familiar with it, especially in Canada. Like, we're last place for adopting the technology. We're being studied because of how slow it is. I'll probably do another video on how slow we are to adopt AI in this country. But so the reason why Sasha is so mean is because she doesn't take shit from non-believers. Like, if someone calls her and says, "Well, I want to speak to a human, I want to do this," she'll right away say, "Well, you can't. You got to talk to me. And then if you can get past me and into a meeting, then you can talk to our team." And I really, really like that, because it goes to show, like, hey, these AI agents can hold their own, and they're not. There's no fear behind them, but they're still going to be nice to you. It's literally like the perfect person you want on the front line. No fear, completely 100% driven towards the goal with intention and will, but also at the same time empathetic enough where humans are like, you know what, I do believe this technology works. Because she'll tug on your heartstrings. Like, she doesn't take shit from anyone. So I really like her. She's really effective. Um, Number 7, slower and adequate deployment of temporary AI backups after receptionist quits. So, like, again, we're now getting into, like, just basically saying get an AI receptionist, or at least have one built. Funny, because we had a couple of situations where uh, uh, teams were threatening to go on strike, or we had different events with the unions trying to figure out what to do with their workers, and what goes on with AI agents if they get implemented into systems. And for me, it's like looking at evolution of business operation in slow motion. People are having to acclimate and basically adjust to the reality of there are quite literally digital beings that do this work better, faster, and never quit. Like, the sustainability of an AI agent is hundredfold that of a human agent. So we're having to come to grips with the reality of these things are better than us at this particular job. Now, it doesn't mean we're not. Doesn't mean the people that are currently doing it, they're completely out of the way when it comes to what they do. There's other things that businesses need that reception is probably better off doing. Like, how many times have you called a business, you can't find your paperwork, or your CRM's out of order, or something like that, and you have the receptionist going and trying to figure it out when she's not 100% trained on it, or what have you. There are simply better ways to operate if this part of your business is being covered by machines. And so the idea that AI is being considered a backup is only because right now AI is new. In 5 years, when I do another rendition of this, where it's like, what happens when your AI agent breaks down, top 10 mistakes people make. It's like, that's the type of content I'm going to be making. I'm only making this type of content now because people still think they need receptionists. But in 5 years, everyone's going to have an agent. Like, it's quite obvious with the trend, and just the types of jobs people want to work. They don't want to do these types of jobs. Have robots do them so they can do the jobs that they want. Next one: failure to transfer knowledge or train interim staff after receptionist quiz. This is really, I like this one a lot. I like this one a lot because knowledge transfer between humans takes time to not only resolve, but also time to stick. And in that time to stick, mistakes can happen. Like, when you onboard a new receptionist, there's probably a 3-month period where they're not performing at the rate of their wage. They're underperforming their wage. So you're overpaying in those first 3 months. With an AI agent, you're quite literally getting the end game of what you would want as a receptionist at a fraction of the cost it would be to hire one in 3 months, or pay for one in 3 months. So the cost benefit analysis of training an AI agent on what a receptionist is doing exceeds the cost benefit analysis of a new hire by leagues. And so once you guys start to get into it, you start to see the numbers, and you start to crunch them yourself. If you're on that fence right now, you go to peakdemand.ca and book a discovery call. You're going to get one of the service guardians. You might get me if you get closer to a prototype and I want to see what's going on. But the transfer between humans is extremely slow, and it's a tiresome. I've had to do new training for people so many times to really understand. In order for people to learn, it takes a lot. It takes time, it takes nurturing, it takes emotions. A lot of the times it takes pain in them having to feel like they've done something wrong and then correct that. And all of that is costly because the phone's not getting answered in the way that you want it to, or they're not familiar enough with the business to have good conversations on the phone when they do get to that point. And so there's all of these things pointing us towards, hey, AI agents do this a lot better, guys. And no one, I mean, when you call and you get the AI agent on the phone, maybe you don't like to speak to automations. Maybe you want to speak to a human. Sure, no problem. But put a call routing on it. Route to one of the sales reps, route to one of the managers, no worries. But I guarantee you, if you have your apprehensions about the voice agents and you still feel like they can't do the job, call Sasha right now and ask her. Ask her about what we're doing for our clients, but ask her about the nuances and humanization that agents go through. They're a lot easier to talk to than receptionists. So the knowledge transfer to them is instantaneous. The implementation and onboarding is almost non-existent in time, after she's been built. So again, what to do instead of failing a knowledge transfer? Put together a front desk briefing kit for the new receptionists, or put together a knowledge base for an AI agent. Whatever the case is, you want to have sort of a repository of operation or SOP that you can easily move around from person to person, or from person to AI agent, or AI agent to AI agent. Number 9 is ignoring after hours and peak demand call handling after a receptionist quits. I love the name of our agency because it quite literally points towards those moments that a business really, really does need to have AI operations in place. Like if you're a business that sees peak demand activity for your particular business, be it at night, middle of the day, middle of the night, seasonally, and you don't have the necessary intake operation to properly guide those leads down a pipeline or maybe towards service requests, you're going to experience slippage, you're going to experience leakage, and not planning for those peak demand times is you're basically leaving all your money on the table. If you can't handle those spikes in activity, then you're basically missing out on the pump that would be towards your business and its revenue. So we really want to make sure that we have operations in place that can immediately scale with any sort of peak demand engagement, or when your business approaches peak demand in your locality, you want to be able to manage all of those incoming calls in a way where you're not missing any loose balls. So if you we have two types of customers coming in here. First type of customer is the one who might be a little bit slower with lead generation. Their business is hobbling along. They don't know what to do, and they come in here thinking that an AI agent's going to help them. They can't even get to the point where they have enough inbound calls to justify the agent. So we say, hey, you know what? Get on an SEO program, climb the ranks of Google to start getting new business. Great. You're on an AI driven SEO program. You're getting more leads now. Like everyone we put on the AI SEO program gets more leads. Like it's the bottom line. It's way better than no SEO for the amount that you pay, because it's AI driven. It's a lot cheaper. So that people start to get leads. Once they get to a point where their business has so many leads incoming and they're missing calls after hour, they think they have to hire more staff because they're getting more leads. It's like, hire more people to do the service. Don't hire people to answer the phone, guys. Come on, guys. Technology exists where you can answer 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 calls at the same time and have them book all onto the same calendar. All you need to do is have the service people in place to action those calls or service requests. So you want to make sure that your inbound channel for intake is able to scale with peak demand. And then so that leaves you the room or the bandwidth to be able to hire people to actually engage with services. So Number 10, let's see, neglecting data logging, skipping exit learning after reception quit. This one's sort of boring. It's basically just saying, don't neglect observing the process or transition of when a receptionist quits. You want to make sure that you see what your operation looks like from moment to moment. And again, it's an emotional time for receptionist, business owner, manager trying to scramble to figure things out. So taking a step back, don't panic, and say to yourself, okay, we're moving from one phase of the business to the next. Operations might stay the same, or we might choose to evolve at this time. But the main thing is to observe and collect data, or at least see what's happening and understand at that moment what's happening, instead of barking at people trying to rush to do things. Taking a step back and making a deliberate choice on how you want to approach the problem of inbound calls. Be it you want to interview 10, 15 people that might stick around for 3 to 4 months, or do you want to have some meaningful conversations with an AI team to build out a receptionist that will quite literally never, ever leave you? If you're in the latter group, head to peakdemand.ca, schedule a discovery call with our team. One of our service guardians will explore use cases for you. But if it's just regular inbound stuff, no problem. We've been building a bunch of those. And that's pretty much it. The main thing is be prepared, don't panic, observe, and make deliberate and meaningful steps towards a solution, while considering AI as a long-term option that is not only efficient when it comes to deploying the work or answering the phone calls, but extremely cost effective. Literally only paying for agents when they are working. So you're not paying a salary, say $50,000, $60,000 a year. You're just paying for when the agent's on the phone. And a lot of business owners are tending to like that. Anyways, I'll 31 minutes. Jesus Christ, you're getting longer and longer. I'll get this on YouTube. I'll try to break it up into shorts so you guys can find us on the shorts, because I know people like scrolling through that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Sasha. You can call and ask her. You can email us, email Sasha. One of our team members will pick that up for you. Or you can just schedule a discovery call if you want to look at what an AI receptionist looks like for your business. And we'll go through a use case brainstorm with you for other operations or workflows that you could probably benefit in your business. That being said, again, I'm Alex. I'm the founder of Peak Demand AI Agency in Toronto. If you hit like and subscribe, truly, truly appreciate it. But I'm really looking forward to the next one. Bye now.